Agreement in place. Fabrizio Romano drops major Arsenal transfer update. Oleksandr Zinchenko is set to leave Arsenal, with Ajax agreeing a deal to sign the Ukrainian international on loan in a move that effectively ends his Premier League chapter. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has given the deal his trademark "Here we go," confirming that Oleksandr Zinchenko will travel to Amsterdam within the next 24 hours to complete medical tests ahead of the switch. Ajax have reached a verbal agreement with Arsenal over a loan move running until June, with the Dutch giants set to cover Zinchenko's full salary for the remainder of the season. Taking to X, Romano reported, Ajax verbally agree on deal to sign Oleksandr Zinchenko from Arsenal. Here we go. Agreement in place over loan until June, leaving Nottingham Forest. Zinchenko will fly in next 24 hours for medical tests in Amsterdam. Ajax will cover his salary. Deal in place. Nottingham Forest loan cut short. The move to the Eredivisie comes after Zinchenko's difficult loan spell at Nottingham Forest was terminated early. Having joined the Midlands club in the summer in search of regular first-team football, the 29-year-old struggled to make a significant impact at the City ground. Reports indicate that Zinchenko found it difficult to cement a starting spot under Forest's management, with injuries and inconsistent form limiting his contributions. The loan, originally intended to run until the end of the season, has been cut short to facilitate this new opportunity. Ajax have moved quickly to secure his services, with the Amsterdam club reportedly agreeing to cover his full salary for the remainder of the campaign. The verbal agreement is now in place, and contracts are being prepared for his arrival in the Netherlands. Zinchenko's time at Arsenal is over. This latest development signals what is likely the final chapter of Zinchenko's Arsenal career. With his contract at the Emirates Stadium set to expire in the summer of 2026, this loan move effectively takes him to the end of his terms with the Gunners. Since arriving from Manchester City, Zinchenko was initially pivotal in Mikel Arteta's tactical evolution, particularly with his ability to invert from left back into midfield. However, the emergence of Miles Lewis-Skelly and the superb form of Ricardo Calafiori saw him fade away from Arteta's plans. A move to Ajax offers Zinchenko a fresh start and a platform to showcase his technical quality in a league that historically values possession-based football, allowing him to potentially put himself in the shop window for a permanent move this summer. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Real Madrid target agrees personal terms for transfer, as medical booked for Sunday. Just a few short months ago, things were looking firmly up at Crystal Palace, and Selhurst Park looked like one of the most exciting Premier League projects around. How quickly things have begun to turn in a short space of time. Last season's FA Cup winners got their hands on a first major trophy of the club's history in May and began the new campaign with their first European adventure, though it would ultimately be in the Conference League after a club ruling relating to multi-club ownership saw Crystal Palace forced to drop down from the Europa League. Nevertheless, Palace began the campaign with a spring in their step. One of the form sides of the autumn, the Eagles were fourth in the Premier League table on 7 December, following just 3 defeats and 12 goals conceded in their first 15 league matches. Just 2 points in 7 matches have followed since then. To make matters worse, Eagles manager Oliver Glasner announced to the press on Friday that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season, and their club captain is also believed to be finalizing a move as we speak. Mark Gahey agrees personal terms for Man City move. Reporting continues that Palace felt they couldn't turn down the money considering his contract situation, while Pep Guardiola's side jumped at the chance to sign an elite defender for a fraction of the price they would normally need to pay on an open market. The Sky Blues currently have Josko Guardiol and Ruben Diaz out injured, and were not prepared to wait until the summer for Gahey. Despite previous interest from Liverpool, Arsenal, and clubs abroad such as Real Madrid, there has been no indication of a January bid arriving from anywhere other than the Etihad this month. Other Selhurst Park exits could yet follow suit. I've got no understanding. Glasner speaks on Gahey's sale. Glasner expressed his deep frustration at the sudden sale of Gahey and the situation at hand at Crystal Palace, following the Eagles' 2-1 defeat at Sunderland on Saturday. He told Sky Sports, "We feel like we're being abandoned completely. Selling our captain one day before a game? There is no understanding for this. We are preparing, and then yesterday, Friday, I get told that our captain will be sold. But why not next week? At least he can play this game, and then next week other players are coming back. It makes me really upset. If your heart gets ripped out twice a year, with Eze one day before a game in the summer and your captain one day before a game, I've just got no understanding. I've been in football for 30 years and never experienced this, not once. Now it happens twice in 6 or 7 months. That's just where we are now. We're playing for weeks now with just 12 or 13 players in our squad. Some players have played their 35th game now. I heard yesterday at 10:30 a.m. for the first time that we were selling Mark. I think the negotiations were a few days long, so nobody would have called at 10 a.m. and by 10:30 a.m. everything was agreed. No team would do this. Other teams, the players play and then the next day they're leaving, and we are selling the day before? Arsenal will never forgive themselves if they don't win title now. Arsenal may have left Nottingham Forest on Saturday night regretting a missed opportunity. The reality is they will actually never have a better chance of ending a Premier League title drought stretching back to the Invincibles of 2004. Mikel Arteta's side has emerged with an advantage stretched to 7 points as the chasing pack aiming to put them under pressure stumbled badly. Arsenal and Arteta will rightly urge caution, but the Gunners will never forgive themselves if they don't claim the crown that has proven so elusive, faced with the domination of Manchester City and the successes of Liverpool. When every circumstance is examined, this feels like the now or never season for Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. If they fail to win the title this season from such a position, the regrets will run deep. Everything is in place for a triumphant surge towards the finishing tape. Back-to-back goalless draws has left some questioning Arsenal's firepower, but with the tightest defense in the league and their rivals continually slipping up, it would take a brave person to back against them now. Bigger leads have been lost at the top of the Premier League before and later in the season, but none of the teams below them are showing the consistency and quality of title contenders. Manchester City failed to turn up the pressure valve before Arsenal traveled to the City ground by losing the derby at Manchester United, a 4th straight match without a win. And then here, at Villa Park, Aston Villa saw their hopes of leapfrogging Pep Guardiola into second undone as excellent Everton secured a fully deserved win. As for reigning champions Liverpool, they have mounted a miserable defense of their crown. Saturday's disappointing draw against Burnley at Anfield that provoked jeers from their fans, leaving them 4th, a distant 14 points behind Arsenal. Villa had won their previous 11 games at home, but Everton threatened the decisive moments long before Thierno Bari cashed in on keeper Emi Martinez's decision to turn a routine stop into an item for his showroom with a classy finish. Unai Emery has been keen to play down Villa's title aspirations, even though they have deservedly placed themselves right in the heart of the conversation. He can do so with more justification now, as he said, "We lost a very good opportunity here, but we are having a fantastic season. We lost the opportunity to be second in the league, something very fantastic, but we must now recover. When you lose, you are sad. When you win, you are happy. We have been happy more times than sad this season." Villa still look like a good bet for a Champions League place, which would be deservedly celebrated, but there was no disguising Emery's disappointment, as well as that of the increasingly agitated home fans, at this setback. It is little wonder Emery believes he has his sights on bringing striker Tammy Abraham, currently on loan at Besiktas from Roma, back to Villa Park. Villa have sold Daniel Malen to Roma, the forward scoring on his debut, and their need for added firepower is reflected in the fact that this is the 7th Premier League match in which they have failed to score this season, as many times as they drew a blank in the whole of the 2024-25 season. So, for all Arsenal's frustration at not seeing off Nottingham Forest, they have come out of the weekend with their position strengthened. Arsenal have cemented their position, while those around them are not showing the consistency and quality of title contenders. Manchester City were perceived as the biggest threat to Arsenal, but they have picked up only 3 points out of 12. Arsenal have been the great pretenders to the Premier League title in recent years, finishing second in the past 3 seasons. This is the chance they have yearned for, in control of their own destiny as those they will regard as rivals falter. Arteta has an all-powerful squad, built on an airtight defense with quality in all areas. Arsenal may have been feeling they had left the door ajar with the draw at Nottingham Forest. Not anymore. It is now closed even further on those nursing title aspirations of their own. The cards are falling in Arsenal's favor. What can possibly go wrong from here?